everybody, and welcome back to the Theology of Rhythm podcast. My name is Reagan Cannington. I hope you're all doing well. I know I am. No notes, no life updates, nothing too crazy. I'm about to go away to camp. It's really about it. I never planned this part of the show, so I never really know what to say. But it's a week till I leave for camp. I just posted a vlog this week of me getting a tattoo. Hope that was cool. It was cool for me. Hope y'all like the tattoo. It is cool. But that's all. Different things on the agenda for this week. Just, filming podcasts and getting out some content for y'all, some more reels, and getting geared up for summer. And so hope that y'all are enjoying all the things. And yeah. Today is less of a theological episode. We just came off of John 4:24, which was good. Hope y'all enjoyed that. But this one's more of a practical one. I wanted to talk about musical transitions, how we can get them to work, how we can get them to flow well, how to look at it from an MD's perspective. Because remember, we're thinking like an MD when we play. How we can be a worship leader and do it, how we can be a drummer and do it. And so just want to go over some of that with y'all, different kinds of transitions that are possible, how to pull them off, and how to make the worship glorifying to God, but also flow well and be smooth and not be distracting to the congregation. One problem everybody feels in worship, at least from the congregation standpoint, is that, and maybe even from the musician's standpoint too, you may feel this, but that worship is not one big long moment of worship, but it is just start and stop of song and talking moment and song and go. And that's a hard thing to balance, especially if you're playing with tracks. You have to start and stop the track. But a lot of worship services can feel like that, where it is, we start the song at this time and it ends directly on this time, and the people clap, and then we start the next song. And that's okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world. However, there's ways that you can make it better. You can make it smoother to the audience so that they're not distracted, they're not caught off guard, all the things, and it can still be worship. So let's talk about some of it, how to make it work well. Things that make songs transition well, same key, or even different keys, and it can work well. One way that transitioning in the same key is easy is you literally just play the same chords, right? If you're going from, say, praise to the blood, and they're both in G, great. You've got yourself a really easy transition, 1 to 1, right? But if you're, say, switching from a song that's in G to a song in C, well, that can also be really easy. You have to make it work well, though, because you can't just jump right in, but you can set it up well, right? If you're playing in G, the 4 chord is C, which is the 1 of the next key. Ending on the C to jump into the next key in the next song can work well. Same thing with a lot of other keys. If you're playing a song in G and you're trying to switch over to, say, the key of C, well, that's the 4 in G. And so you would play the 4 at, say, the end to then transition into the 1 of the next key, which is the same note, right? And this can work for a lot of other keys too. If you're trying to play from F to B flat major, if you're trying to play from C to F, same thing with even the 5. If you're trying to switch from C to G or D to A, right? It can work that way. And if you're playing a chord that is not in the key, say you're moving from C to F sharp, well, that can be tricky, right? If you're trying to move from C to F sharp, you can do two things. You can either change the key of the next song to G, right? That makes it a lot easier. Or if you have somebody on your team that is musically smart, to try and figure out a way to transition it. Say go from C to D, which holds an F sharp, then up to F sharp, right? there's different ways to do it, different ways to navigate a key transition, and ways to do it right. And there's ways to do it not right. If you're playing say you're playing in C, and you have to go to F sharp, it's not nice to just go C, F sharp, because that's a tritone, right? It feels disjointed, feels a little awkward when you play it, but there is ways to get it there. This sounds good. Same tempo. This is so nice. This is so easy. If you're playing a song that is at 120 and the next song's at 120, sheesh. Or even 121 or 122. Songs that have similar tempo ranges, so easy to work with. Because sometimes you won't even have to change the click. For example, the blood. In the song, nothing but the blood. Song transition we do all the time in my church. Well, it's really easy to transition the two because they can be played at the same tempo. Obviously, Nothing But the Blood has several different arrangements that are played at different tempos, but you can play it where it sounds good at the same tempo of The Blood by Bethel, right? That's easy. Groove compatibility. If one song is, say, like Firm Foundation, complete swing, it's 6/8, and you're trying to move to a song that is straight 4/4. That's a little hard. That's a little disjointed to do. But if you're moving from straight 4/4 to straight 4/4 or straight 6/8 to straight 4/4, that's a little easier to do. Think about that when you're looking at your songs. Think about that when you're choosing them, when you're trying to decide what groove to play. Think about that. Energy. It's easy to pick two songs, go back to back that have the same energy. For example, Praise and I Thank God, right? Those have very high energy, very camp songs, honestly. But, whatever. They're good songs. And so it's easy to transition to songs like that because they have both a very level 100 energy up there, Washed, Goodbye Yesterday, or even low energy. Yet not I, but through Christ in me, and to be thou my vision, right? It's easy to transition like that. Or even, He Will Hold Me Fast. Slower songs like that. Right? And so don't think of it like as song to song to song, or moment, or like building block of the Sunday morning. Think of it more like it's one overarching story, one overarching line of music and worship, and there is miniature arcs within that, right? It's like a story, It's like, what story are you telling with the music on Sunday morning, right? A lot of times on a Sunday morning, at least the back half after the sermon, it will start low and end big. We'll play 2 or 3 songs at the end. The first song will start low. The last song will end with a big trash can. But the first song on the first set, but it might be opposite on the first set, right? We introduce the song with a big crash, big intro, and then going into the sermon, there's a low moment of the down chorus and then leading into prayer, right? To get ready for the sermon. So think of it like a story arc with mini arcs within it, right? When you read a book, when you watch a movie, this same thing happens, Big arc, little arcs within it. There's a landing point to the song, and there's a launch point of the song. And so be mindful of that. Be ready to work with those. Here's how you can make transitions work dynamically, even when, say, they don't, right? If a song ends down and the next song ends up, say you're trying to do, say you're doing the song Be Enthroned by Bethel, and you're transitioning it into, what's the song? You've Already Won, right? It's kind of tricky. One's in 6/8, one's in 4/4. And Be Enthroned ends on a down chorus of the song, and You've Already Won ends on an up instrumental, or starts on an up instrumental. Drums lead in with a light wash, build up to the moment of that introduction. Bass, there can be swells there. Guitars create a moment of, this is where we're going, with tone, with volume, with the the drive and the attack that you're playing with. And keys, lead into that, set the tempo, set the time, the key change, or I'm sorry, not the key change, the time signature change with what you're playing. Piano is often one of the loudest things that you hear in worship, along with drums and vocals. And so when you hear the keys, you can hear, oh, we're going into 6/8, right? And so be mindful of that. Be ready to move that, get that shift ready to be going. And so don't have a moment where it's like, okay, song is over, boom, now we're in the next song. That's distracting to the audience. That's disjointing. It's like, okay, we were at this low moment of singing a song. Now we're at this blasting instrumental. Try to bridge the gap, right? It's not like you're jumping. It's not like you're jumping over the river. It's like you're going through it. You're flowing through it, right? To get it to connect. You're connecting the bridge between one song and the next. That's on musical transitions. There can be talking and spiritual transitions. Spoken transitions can sometimes break the flow of a worship service. If you get up there and you don't know what to say, and you start rambling, you start, saying literally what I do on this podcast, where I ramble about whatever, right? And y'all still listen to me, but whatever. You just go up there, you think you have a thought, but because you're in front of people, it can be hard to actually get it out. Know what you're going to say, be direct to the point, and don't explain to the congregation things. Don't talk like they're children, because they're not, right? Don't say this next song is about, or because they're going to know from the lyrics, right? Congregational worship, CCM. So it's easy to pick up on what the song's about. Nobody needs to be told what this song is about. Instead of saying that, say, here's what this means for us. Here's what God is doing right now. Let's pray for this. Or even read a verse, right? I love it when worship leaders literally break out the physical Bible during worship and they start reading a verse. So awesome. And so having long, unplanned talking moments of whatever you need to say, whatever you think you need to say, or what is being said, that can break the flow. It cannot be helpful to people. It can be disjointing. But having either an idea in your head of what you're going to say, knowing what you're going to say before you go on stage, to be direct and to the point with people, or having a verse to say, can easily make the transition from one song to the next so much better, right? And so don't think of that, the spoken moment, of a piece in worship where it's like song, and it's like breaking them apart. It's, again, just the flow. You're trying to flow the songs together. Encourage people to pray. Encourage people to exalt the Lord and to sing praises to his name in between songs, right? We've had moments where we've been in between songs and our worship leader has said, call out some of the names of God. And people are like, shepherd, provider, king, right? That can be a transition as well. As an MD, you need to be ready for those things. You need to be ready to say, okay, band, this is what we're doing right now. You need to say, okay, I think this talking moment is about to wrap up. We're going to start the track and instruments are going to start playing. The verse, I know this verse that he's saying, it's about to finish up. We're about to press play on the track. You need to be ready to engage in that. You need to be ready for the worship leader to do that, because sometimes it can be spontaneous, right? You need to be ready for that. Understand that it's the congregation. You're serving the congregation and you're serving God. And so to do this, you need to have a level of skillfulness, right? I feel like a broken record when I talk about skillfulness. I mean, literally, it's just like, I feel like that's all I talk about, really. Just because it's one of my big things, because I hear people say, it's about the heart in worship, and it absolutely is, don't get me wrong. Listen to episode 1. Just listen to episode 1. That's all I have to say. I'm done talking about this. But, right, so great worship does not just pick songs well, plan songs well, arrange them well. It makes them flow well too, right? And so the worship that you do on a Sunday morning is not just playing the songs from a playlist, from a set list, but it is a musical journey of start to finish with different moments, different transitions, spontaneous moments, right? And you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready to lead from wherever you are on stage, whether you're behind the bass or behind the drums, or you're singing, right? We're all worship leaders on stage. And so you need to figure out how we're going to get from one place to the other. What do we want the congregation to know about God? What are we teaching the congregation about God? Because music is not neutral, and we're always teaching the congregation theologically through the songs that we're singing. When we sing one song and we don't sing another, well, we're making a choice. We're saying we don't want to teach our congregation this theology from this song. We are teaching them this theology, right? We talked about this in, I believe, episode 6 on songs and false churches. You're always teaching the congregation through music. So do that. That's all I have. Short episode today. Not too much I have to say on this. But there's a lot of good stuff in this. Hope this is helpful for y'all. Hope it opens up your MD brain. Or if you are an MD, this helps you understand a little more about transitions and how to make them happen, how to do them. I hope it encourages you to try and do more transitions at your church. I know I love doing transitions at my church. Another one I'll mention is words. I've completely forgot about this, but words can work, right? If the word is praise in one song, make it praise in the other song, right? I know at one point my church did praise into doxology, and of course we know the first line is praise God from whom all blessings flow, and that's exactly what we did. So we played all through praise, and then we did the doxology with more hype energy and more up tempo because we were just coming out of praise. And then it almost sounded like we were going to go back into the doxology, but instead of saying the word praise from praise God from whom all blessings flow, we did praise from the song Praise, Elevation, right? Another way to do it. And so finally, that's the end. That's all I have for you today. Think about these things. I'd like for you to use them in your church. Talk to your worship leader or your MD about this. It's a cool thing. It helps the congregation see worship better and see it flow better. And yeah, again, my name is Reagan Cannington. You can follow me on all socials. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Reagan Cannington on all those. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find Theology over them. And that's all I have for y'all. Again, you can DM me on Instagram if you want any topics talked about that you like or that you want to know about that I haven't thought of or talked about yet. Or let me know your thoughts on the episode and give me some feedback if you liked it, if you hated it, whatever. And so that's all I have for you today. I'll see you on the next one. See you.